Alright, what's up everybody? My voice sounds like crap. No, I don't have the Rona. I just have some kind of bug or something. I don't know. A little low on energy, and my voice sounds like a villain from a horror movie, but I'm good. So, I did the other video on Bitcoin. Um, a pet peeve of mine is I go online to look up other people's opinions of charts, other people's opinions of prices, what you got, what you think, things like that. And I legit want to know answers. I want to know. I want to know the sentiment of the market. I want to know what people are thinking. I want to know why they're thinking it. What really bothers me is when people just post random crap and think it's some sort of news, or they think it's some sort of information or useful charting, and it's not. It really ticks me off. I don't know that really ticks me off. It just annoys the hell out of me. That it's 2020 and you have every tool at your fingertips to learn this the correct way, and then you learn it halfway, and then you get irritated when it doesn't work. Okay, well, if you knew it the right way, you wouldn't get irritated. It's no different than doing air conditioning. If you knew how to do it the right way, you'd fix it the first time, and you wouldn't get mad that someone else had to go behind you and take care of it. Okay, so I'm gonna take some drinks here periodically, just so my voice sounds more decent. All right, so we did the Bitcoin chart from the very first day all the way up. Now, I don't have the data for XRP for the very first day, but I do have it all the way back till 2016, sometime in 2016. Now we can look at it here and figure out the exact time. And I could use CoinTrader, but the interface on CoinTrader is a little harder to use. It's a little glitchy, and it gets frustrating when you're trying to move the cursor around and stuff. And I've fiddled around with it a little bit, and it just doesn't work as well as I'd like. Well, actually, we have data all the way back till mid 14, which is pretty cool. I'm ding-dinging. Hang on. I think people are either joining or leaving. I don't know. Whatever. All right. Anybody has any questions, put them in the general chat box right there. Under text channels, you got #general. And then it'll kick you over to this this chat box right here. And we can get an answer for any question you got. All right, so what we did with Bitcoin is we started back on day one. And the thing that's really frustrating is what I hear from people who say, oh my God, the chart just shot up in the air and it took off and it went like a rocket and there's no explanation for it. And it's clearly magic. And someone pushed a magic button and made this thing go. And that's quite simply not true. This was not want to say controlled because that's the wrong word, a engineered, careful jump on the chart. Okay, what looks to be a massive pump and a massive FOMO. I don't believe that's what that was actually. I believe what we have is a quite technical rise of a chart. It did its thing. It did what it was supposed to do. We found out through using our indicators in our group, through using the classes that I teach, that these indicators are really precise, and we get about 70% accuracy with these indicators. If you have 70% and you go to Vegas, you're bankrupt in the place. So, I mean, that's as simple as that. 70%, give me 70% all day long, and I'm going to work with it, and I'm going to beat you. Okay, so what we start with is what I preach is resistance lines first. Okay, I preach resistance lines first, and we have a class that we did on resistance lines already. Exactly, you get put in, Frank, if you do 70% in Vegas, they put you in that room with no cameras. Okay, I don't want to be in that room. I say resistance lines first because what we found out is that these things, even though they have a fractal that they do follow, it's my opinion that the fractals that they follow are coin to coin. So essentially, Bitcoin would only run on Bitcoin's fractal, and XRP would only run on XRP's fractal. Ethereum would only do Ethereum's fractal. Now, they may look similar from the outside, but they're not the same. And we have other charts to prove that they're not the same. And I see a lot of people that say, well, if you want to know what XRP was going to do, just look at Bitcoin. It went T for T. No, it didn't. The XRP BTC chart proves that it didn't do that. In fact, if that was the case, the chart would be flat all the time. And it's very much not. It very much goes up and down, just like the chart you see sitting in front of you. So I'm going to start with resistance lines. It's pretty simple to draw resistance lines. We've already went over it. I have another video that I am going to link on this one, and I'll put it up here in the corner after we get done, and I put this thing up public. There'll be a little tag up here that sends you over to that video that I haven't even published yet. Okay, so we'll start with resistance lines. The way we find resistance lines is we're looking for points that candle bodies closed in. We've went over what a candle is. A candle is pretty simple to look at, but each one of these either green or red dots that you see on the chart are candles. Candles are buying and selling within a certain time period. I don't care whether it's 1 minute, hour, weekly, monthly, daily, yearly, it doesn't matter. It's all a candle. We can zoom way in here and see that if you look at it a little closer, it kind of looks like a candle. Okay, it's got a wax body with a wick. Makes sense? Makes sense. Simple as that. The large bodies represent buying. The smaller bodies represent less buying. When you see these large bodies, this is a good sign. This means lots of buying. When you see the large red bodies, that means lots of selling. When we see wicks, that means indecision. Whether you couldn't buy, you couldn't sell, or you did buy and you did sell, and it didn't matter. It just kind of hung out and did its own thing. It kept doing its normal routine. So this is a weekly chart we've got up. So each one of these candles represents one solid week of buying and selling. Okay, and then this is where it closed. Opening and closing are probably the most important two spots. As you can see, green went up and up and up and up. So that means it closed higher and closed higher and closed higher and closed higher. This is an uptrend. Okay, and then we have all these reds right here, which means we close lower and we close lower and we close lower. That's a downtrend. Simple as that. Now, the resistance lines are at the top and the bottom of these trends, and oftentimes in the middle. So let's try to find some. We're looking for points on these candles where the bodies touch as many points as we can. You might not hit them all, but you want to get most of them. You're not trying to be perfect with this. You're trying to get close. Close, again, 70% is better than 20% or 40%. Okay, so shoot for the stars, land on the moon. Okay, simple enough. Right now, I'm going to tell you that I see a couple good resistance lines here, where one candle is going to hit a whole lot of bodies. One line is going to hit a whole lot of candle bodies. Okay, let's make that red, because I like red because it's a bold color that stands out, hits you right in the mouth. Also, we're going to remember that we're in log mode down here. We're going to keep this in log mode, because if you don't have it in log mode, none of these lines line up. Pay attention. Log mode. Exactly, Frank. We don't guess. If you guys are wondering, I'm talking to the guys in the group also. We have a private group of guys that we invest with and share charts, share info, share data. It's important to have people who are on your side and people who don't agree with you at the same time. Okay, I don't ask for agreement. In fact, I encourage disagreement. Okay, so we just look at this one section. Let's do a little rectangle here where everybody can see what I'm talking about. If we just look at this section right here, we see that all these candles kind of stopped at the same point right here. This lets us know we had a resistance line. Okay, I see all these stopping and I immediately focus dead in on it because I've been doing this a while. But you may not see that. Well, I'm telling you now, that's what that is. Okay, you don't have to see a lot of candles to understand where a resistance line is. I start on the higher time frames like weekly or monthly, and I work my way down to a lowers. All right, I like the big time frames because they're stronger and weaker resistance and support. Each one of these lines represents resistance and support. Under it is resistance, on top is support. All right, so that's my first line. I see another one here where these kind of stopped up here but didn't really line up. You know, I'm not sure where this one's going to go. So I'm not going to put one here yet because I just don't have a real great feel for that yet. I'm going to go on and keep moving to the right. I've got this whole section right here done. I'm going to go over to the right. And up here I see where 3 candles stopped together. Alright, and I like that point, so I'm going to make that a line. I'm going to move over to the right some more. This is kind of indecisive here. And if you're not sure, don't put anything. But I definitely see one here. I got this big, humongous wick, which was indecision, followed by another candle at the exact same point going straight down. Okay, so I think that's a line. Already got 3, and it turns out that this one was almost 50% in between the other 2. Interesting how that works, huh? Okay, pay attention to that because you're going to see that a lot. Alright, so if you look here, in between this one and this one, right about 50% of the way, it looks like we're going to need another line, huh? So I see candle body here, a wick right here, and a lot of other wicks over here. But it kind of looks like it might be on the top of this where I can get more touching. Yeah, look at this. Okay, so we got touching here, here, and over here. It dipped under. That's fine. But if we keep moving to the right, look, we hit that point, and all of these candles hit. So I think we found a good spot. All right. Look at the price, by the way. We haven't even talked about the price, but look, 1 cent. 2 cents. We've well beyond went past that a long time ago. Okay. So this is just plotting the beginning. So now that I've done a section, I've got 3 years on the timeline here. If you look on the bottom, there's our timeline, September 14 to January 17. Okay, that's what I just did right there with these lines. I made simple resistance lines. I could get a little deeper and put more lines in here. Not going to do that right now. Yes, correct, Frank. Price is the last thing I care about. The first thing I want to do is identify the trend. I'm going to write that real quick. Identify the trend. Make that a little bigger where bitches can see it. Okay. And one other thing I got to put up here because it's almost guaranteed to happen. I will put it real fast. Not financial advice. Why? Because it's your money, not mine. So when you do these moves, don't get mad at me if you lose money. It's your money, not mine. If you'd like me to spend your money for you, just hand it to me. I'll take care of it. I got a Ferrari I'd like to have. I really like those 458 Spiders. They're dope. So if you need to spend some money or you want to give some to me, I'll be happy to buy a Ferrari. Alright, so we want to identify the trends. Well, looks like we kind of had it down here, but not really sure. Looks like we kind of had it up here. We know this was an up. We know this was a down. That's pretty obvious, okay? Now that we know this, and this was multiple weeks, and this was multiple weeks, we have a trend. We can kind of back up a little bit and use our Fibonacci retracement tools to start showing that this was not just a manufactured bullcrap pump. This was a full-on technical ride up the chart. Alright, like we always do with Fibonacci retracement, we're going to go point to point, top to bottom, because we had a small little downtrend right here, followed by an uptrend, a reversal, a beautiful reversal. This is a Poloniex chart, and Poloniex charts are notoriously wicky. So it's kind of hard to judge Poloniex charts, okay? For that reason, I kind of don't like to use them. But we're still going to see some good technicals here, okay? So we hit this humongous wick right here, which I don't think's real life. It's just this particular exchange going nuts. what I think I might do is pull this back to right about down here, because that seems more realistic at this point. It just doesn't seem like a realistic price. We've seen Poloniex do this before and throw really oddball prices, so that seems more realistic. So we do this. Looky there. The very first move that this thing ever made was a perfect 1.618 retrace. We had a downtrend. It came up, blew right, look, it tried to hit the 50 right here and got wicked down, but then bam, right to the 786, which is the number 2 most important line. Number 1 would be the 50 right here. We blew right through that. We hit the 786 and did this really nasty wick. That probably scared some people, but bam, took off. Perfect 1618 retrace. Couldn't have asked for a better first run. This would be my first DJ Khaled and another one. You guys don't know what I'm talking about, but in the group the other day we went over Bitcoin and I kept posting DJ Khaled gifs, because every time I found a price or a chart that did a good one, exactly, Frank, every time I saw a price or a movement that hit correctly, I would say another one, because it's fairly obvious what was happening. I was finding one after the other after the other. I went through all of them and I found like 14 times that the chart did what it was supposed to do, exactly on the money, and the only explanation for it was perfect technical analysis. Okay, so already we've hit it once. All right, so we had this big down, this big up, followed by this pull down right here. We can measure this pull down just like we measured the up in the other direction. Because it's a uptrend, we find the point where we measured from, which is here, and we pull up. It's an uptrend. We pull up to the top peak right here, all the way down. Look, we hit a 236. It bounced off but kept on going. Look at the 382. It got hung up for quite a while right here. Came down, blew right through the 50. Look, it hung up for a little bit but blew through it all the way down to, what do you know, the second most important one, 786. Hit the 786 and stopped. Since we had another perfect retrace, didn't do the 50. The 50 would have been a continuation. We know that if we hit this 50, it usually comes back this way. Okay, that's the 50. We didn't do that this time. It went right on through it, down to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. As you see, it hit stop by stop by stop, all the way to the 786. That's 2. Somebody keep track of this for me, because I'm going to lose track in a minute. All right, so we know that that one hit a perfect 786 retrace. We can measure from that point. We have a downtrend right here, which is fairly obvious. We're identifying trends. I cannot explain to you how important that is. That's a downtrend. We're following trends to make money. Look at that, from top to bottom, and here we go again. We came up 236, blew right through it, got hung up a little bit. Look at here. On the 50 fib, it wicked way up here, but look where it got hung at, the 50. And that's a continuation fib. What that means is, when we hit this one and we don't break it, if there was a downtrend to start, guess what we're going to continue to do? Another downtrend. Downtrend, 50% retrace and no break. It didn't break through. Equals more downtrend. And it would have been the same thing if we were going on an uptrend, okay? But we never got there. Now that we've identified that one, we can keep going. Pretty easy, right? We have another downtrend. Let's measure this one. From point, the wick. Here's these weird wicks again, right? To right about there. Get exact if you'd like. I don't care. What do you know? That was 3, by the way. Again, we had a down. We got hung up a little, and hit that 50% retrace again and continued down. Another one. Let's erase this one. We had another downtrend right here. See that? Now this one, I can already tell you, looks like it did a 786 or a 618, one of the two, from the bottom to the top. And get close. There we go. Yep, look, 786. It didn't break the 786. When we break the 786, we normally go on down through here. It'll keep coming down. And it's the same way up here. When we broke the 786 right here, it kept right on pushing through it all the way to the 1618. Now, if this had failed, look how low it would have came down to. 1/100th of a cent. And didn't do that, obviously. It hung out and did its thing and stayed up, which was cool. A 786 retrace and up. Now we can measure the next one. We had a downtrend. It was actually a retrace right here. We had this down. Man, I got close, but I'm not dead on there. Right there. We had this down and then snap, come up, broke through, but hit the 786. Didn't make it, and it came back down. Just like right here, it went down and hit the 786 over here and reversed. This one hit the 786 and reversed. We're moving sideways. Interesting how that works, huh? That's another one. Perfect. All right, so obviously we keep going around and see this. We had this big monster GTFO candle over here. Well, this is way bigger than any of the other candles. Like, what the hell? Well, let's give it a measure. Now you probably could come down here and do this one, but I want you to look how crazy that looks. You know, a 4. We blew through everything. That doesn't make sense to me. So, and this is weekly. So, what I'll do is back up a little bit to the monthly. Alright. Now it's not going to look like so crazy anymore. We know this point right here was what we were just trying to measure. So I'm going to pull a fib to it. Right here. Stop it. Stop it. You got to be kidding me. So now I've got a fib right here to here. This little downtrend. Ooh, I can even get fancier and go down here. Oh shit, look at there. Stop it. Stop it. Now let's go back to the weekly. Don't you tell me it's that close. Ooh, still brutally bad, huh? Look at that. Blew right through the 1618 and everything, huh? But what we've noticed on Bitcoin, which was an interesting thing, when it blew through the 1618 on Bitcoin, it went to 2. And then after it went to 2, it come back down to 1618. And that was the only time that it did a number 2 line reversal. Now this one blew through and come all the way up and stopped. And when it stopped, look where it stopped. Right on the 2 line. And, interestingly enough, this resistance line that I drew all the way back over here. Remember that? The second line that I drew. This was the first one. This was the second one. Are you kidding me? Look at there. It went up and came right back down to the point where it had resistance and support. It caught support on itself. It did not just go out of nowhere. Yes, this candle made a really, really beautiful run. Let's see and measure this. It's a son of a bitch of a run. Let's go all the way down here. I want you to look at that. 1,666%. Shut the hell up. That's amazing. That would be, I don't know how much money. Okay? I don't even know the math. I'm out of my wits a little bit. I can't, I don't need to tell you that's not rocket science, but that's pretty damn good. Now, if we come back up here, we actually see it do something similar to Bitcoin. The 2 line and then retrace back to the 1618. So I think this is a little bit more accurate. We all move sideways, and I'm going to say it again. These Poloniex charts are super wicky. You know what I mean? They got more wicks than any other charts. The Poloniex has the most. This one and Bittrex. Bittrex has a lot. All right, so seeing that we did this, we hit the 2 line, which was a one-time occurrence on Bitcoin. Okay, we did it right here. There's our 1. So we had, I think, 5 or 6, and we probably could have found 7 or 8 total really solid 1618s, really solid 50% or 786% retraces that were all super technical in a row before we had one that wasn't perfect. And even though it wasn't perfect, it still came back to the 1618 line that we aimed for. If you don't know what I mean by the 1618 line, this is the 1618 line, 1.618. This is 161% from where it started, okay, which would be all the way down here at the bottom. Bam, okay. This would be 100% from where it started, the 1 line, and this is 161% from where it started. Simple enough? Good. That's a beautiful, beautiful reversal. Now that we know this was the point that we're looking for, and this is the point we're looking for because we had a downtrend right here, let's measure it and see how it looks. Ooh. Another 2. So we had a downtrend. We went from top to bottom. It blew right on through the 50. Came down and wicked on it though. Hit the 786, wicked, and shot up like a rocket right on through it, all the way to the 2 line, where it stopped. Wicked over, came back down, wicked over, came back down. And it even drew a pennant up here, which is a technical tool for reading charts. Drew a pennant right here. That would be a bull flag, folks. Boom. Rode the pennant. We had a choice. It could go up or down. Our indicators turned south. See that on the MACD right there? Indicator turned south. That pennant broke south. Weird how that works, huh? How an indicator helped us understand what was going to happen. What the hell? So write this down as another time that we didn't do a perfect 1.618 retrace. Instead, we did 2. Even though it did that 2, I want you to look. It came back down and sat on this 1618 line. It just sat right there. Alright, so even though we went to the 2 line, it came right back there where it's technically supposed to go. Alright, moving on past that one. I think I'm maybe 7 and 2, so right at about 70% again. We drove sideways for a while right here, super annoying, doing nothing. I bet if you look on the monthly chart from here to here, it would be a great point to read. I'm not even going to bother looking because I already know it is. We also, along the way, created another resistance line right about here. See that? We had a stopping point, a wick, and we had this one down here too. Remember 6 cents. Remember 6 cents. Now I see another resistance line somewhere around in here, but I'm not positive. How about we'll just put it in the middle? Well, I gotta click on it first. There we go. We'll just put it in the middle. I see lots of top notches, bottom notches, touch, 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 touch. So we have another resistance right here at 19 cents. All right, we'll pull a fib from here down to here. What do you know? Again, And these are on the weekly charts. It went well beyond the 1618 on this one for sure. As you see, blew right on through it. Almost all the way up to the 3. Man, that's a pretty good hump there. Come down. We made a downtrend. It struggled to break the 50 for a little while, but it finally broke through. And when it did, my God, it blew right through the 786 and everything. But did it go as far as we think it did on the weekly? Let's step down to the daily and look and see if it actually was more technical on the daily. Breaking news, folks. It's going to be. I hate to ruin the party for you, but it's going to be pretty technical on the daily. Alright, let's get a good view here. Let's erase this one. We do most of our trading on the daily. That's just kind of the best chart to look at for trading. To not be so unbelievably wicked out all the time. We've found that it just works better to use the daily. Weekly also. Weekly's fine. Got no problem with that. Alright, so if we go all the way down here, we had a downtrend. We broke the 50, slipped right on through the 786, and we're right back to this 2 again. So that's the third time it's hit the 2. Almost like it's got a mission to hit the 2 line. We hit 1.618 a couple times. We've hit 2 a couple times. I can start automatically thinking, if I'm following this chart when this is happening, that I'm looking for 1.618 and 2 every time on these reversals. It's not hard, okay? It's not just flying out of nowhere like everybody thinks it was. It's not happening. So we had a 2 here, pretty obvious. We'll go on and move away from that one. We'll do another from the top to the bottom. Now we're getting a little bit more technical here. Zoom in on this. We can see it a little better. There we go. Now, 1.618 retrace, a little downtrend. Let's just move our lines up here rather than erase it. Let's move them up. Another one. DJ Khaled, 1.618 retrace. And another. One more for the top. Look at that. I'm talking about smack you right in the mouth. Perfect. All the way at the very tip top. We made more resistance lines along the way. Alright, I just explained to you from day one on XRP that XRP was very technical all the way up. Was it as technical as Bitcoin? No, it wasn't. I'll be honest with you. It wasn't. But it was still pretty damn technical. We hit resistance lines. We hit beautiful retraces along the way. We hit systematic numbers each time. We either hit the 1.618 or the 2 on reversals, and we either hit the 50 or the 786 on our retraces. Okay? That's technical. I hate to break it to you, but that's technical. So even at the very beginning onset of XRP, we've seen technical maneuvers from the very first start. Okay, obviously that was the top of the mountain, and we've done nothing but come down. And I could show you why we're coming down. I'll do one real quick. We've already went over this, but from the top down, we started with this when it hits the 50 and can't break it. What happens? This downtrend, well, it just continues. We had a downtrend here. This didn't break. We have a downtrend here. This didn't break. We had a downtrend here. This didn't break. We had a downtrend here. This didn't break. We had a downtrend here. And over and over and over again. Until we're all the way back where we're at now. Okay? It just kept happening and happening. Right here was probably a little moment of hopium. You know what I'm saying? Look at this little moment of hopium right here. This thing did a yeet. What we've also noticed is when they miss their technical points and they go way past, they tend to come back where they should have gone to begin with. Bitcoin did this. Bitcoin on the 2% on the 2-line reversals that it did, it actually went down and hit the 1618 afterwards, just like this one did. Okay, it might have blown through it at first, but it came right back down to it like it should have to begin with. And that's Poloniex. Okay, it's not as solid as some of the other exchanges, in my opinion. But anyway, it didn't last. Obviously, this thing just dipped right back down, right back down. Along the way, we've made more resistance lines and more resistance lines and more resistance lines and more resistance lines. And I could sit here and label them all for you. I'm not gonna. What I will do is I'll flip through the tether chart where I have stuff pre-labeled for you. This is the chart I use most of the time because it's less wiki and it's a little bit more consistent, and it's tethered to U.S. tether rather than a dollar. Okay, so it's more worldwide, I think. Anyway, these are some of the resistance lines we've still got to get through. XRP made a very technical, nasty dump right here. This is where I lost all my money. Okay, we measured this before. This was a 1.618 dump all the way down to the bottom. And then since then, it's worked its way back up. Slowly but surely, it's worked its way back up. This was not technical. Okay, we've already looked at that. It went past where it was supposed to go. See that? Way past where it was supposed to go on the daily. Blew way up here, and now look what's happened. It hit this wick right here first of all that wrecked some people, and now it's coming back down again. If we look at this on the weekly though, you know, you kind of get an idea that it kind of was pretty damn technical. You just can't lose sight of your larger time frames. The weekly shows it pretty obvious here. From this point down. Look at that. Hold on a second. There we go. Look at that. I'll actually erase this one in black right here, just so you can see it. We had a perfect downtrend, come up and hit the 50, got hung up a little bit, but after that blew right through that 786 and went straight to 1.618. Hit it, did a doji candle, and now it's pulled down a little bit. Also, there's a moving average sweeping down right here, and I'll actually pull that back up so we can see that moving average. And you can see that the moving average is actually acting as resistance. I don't have my indicators pulled up because I was keeping the chart clean, but I will put it up real quick. Thanks to EZ, who built an indicator for us. Yeah, there we go. This is my trend line, the main trend line for the entire fractal of XRP. It broke it, but looks like we're testing it now. And that 786 that we broke on the monthly is getting tested right now on the top. It came down and hit it, and we're going to see what happens. I'm worried it's going to break it down south. I'm not positive. We'll see. We'll see. But you see the moving average right here, the 100-day moving average. Or this is 100-week moving average. Sweeping down. And it got caught. But that happened to be a perfect from this point to this point reversal of 1.618. We've already started with technicals. Already. From the bottom. Now, if this doesn't hold, this 786, and it starts coming down here and it breaks this EMA right here, the green line, our probably our most accurate indicator, this neon green wavy line, if it breaks that south, y'all, it could get nasty. I don't do hopium. I'll tell you straight up if I think something's going to fail. We haven't failed yet, okay? But I'll put a fib up here to show you what will happen if we do fail and this chart goes negative on us. If it turns south on us, it's going to get nasty. First things first, There's a 1618 at 11 cents. If this comes up here and it can't hold this 50 line, if it can't hold this 786 line, it's going to come south down here to 11 cents. That's first. That's just the small set. If we do a bigger set, we get even worse looking one. Okay, and it goes all the way down to 6 cents. I'll show you here on the Poloniex chart. Oh man, look at that resistance support line we made right there way back in the day. And we're not that damn far from it, are we? So if this fails and we come back down here, that's where we're going to go. Okay? That's where we're going to go. We're going to stop off in here first somewhere around 11 cents, 10 cents. And then we're going to come back down here. That's just what's going to happen. I will promise you, I will tell you that I'm taking mine out if it goes down below this weekly 8 EMA right here. If I see it dip below this green line, I'm out. Out. All of it is going to tether until I see it do something else. I'm jingling and hang on. Yeah, Matt dipped out. I know he probably went to bed. He likes to go to bed at around 11. I'll talk to him tomorrow. I got class with him in the morning. Workshop class. Work class. So, that's pretty much the XRP fractal explained. Do I think it's going to go up? Yeah, I do. How far? Well, if we're being technical,